absolutely crazy. Start with the raw. That's not going to happen. We might get to that later, but it feels like you guys just decide to leak. Obviously, transparency has been a massive part of the way that you guys have run your company. And I was just wondering, is this like a massive marketing tactic to get people addicted to what you're doing, or is this just your philosophy on how you wanted to run the business? They'll call it a business, but the way running
or
forward.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good question, and we haven't really been asked that directly before, and it sort of just it happened for a couple of reasons. So the reason that it happened for the first reason is we needed to be transparent because when we first came out, we had probably 10 or 15 characters that were fully fleshed out, conceptualized, modeled. They had sound. They were really, really, really cool. And that back then, we were up against 2D card games, like
100%.
super, super simple games. And so when we came out and said, we're going to build 150 of these characters and they're all going to be as good as what the graphics were, modern day, but back, when Pokemon first came out, people were like, you're full of shit, right? Like, we don't believe you. And so part of the reason was just we don't like getting told that we're liars or that we're scamming or that we're anything. And so we get triggered and we're like, then when I say we, I mean, take Aaron out of this. It's Grant and I, right? Like,
100%.
we get triggered and it's like, okay, you don't believe us? We'll shove it down your throat. And then still people were like, no, we don't believe it. We don't believe it. And so there was that part of it where it's all about like just trying to show people. And I'll caveat that by saying I get it, right? Like I don't believe half of the crap that comes out of this space either, because they're very small teams. They don't have much experience in most cases, right? There's obviously a whole bunch of really good teams that are building now. Go back 18 months ago, it was a barren wasteland.
Nothing.
Right? So we had to do that. And the other thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to build that psychological connection with the characters. We had this situation where we want like there's 150, or there was only meant to be 150. Now there's like 185. But we wanted people to go, I've seen that character. I know what its ability is. I know what its affinity is. That resonates with me as a person, and I want to collect that, right? And so it was a twofold approach. Now, we kind of kept on pushing the line of where Aaron was comfortable with, and it got to a point where I said, all right, I started the leaking, but it was Grant and I who basically were like, it was Von Neumann back then, but we both were pushing the envelope saying like, we want to leak. And I was just like, fuck it. Let's just leak. And then we got to a point where Aaron was like, this is now ridiculous, right? Like, I'm sorry, this is just gone too far. We're going to open up the overworld and everyone's going to know what they're capturing. And that was at the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to step back. And then in steps Von Leekman, and he doesn't care about what anyone says, whether it be me, whether it be Aaron. He's just letting it rain. And so that's never going to change. And yeah, he just loves being able to show off how talented his team of artists are. And yeah, so that's kind of the story behind the leaks. And it's, I guess, turned into a bit of a marketing campaign for us ongoing.
Yeah, 100%. I obviously thought there would have been a lot of different reasons why, but that whole sector back when you first started was terrible. Like there were so many rug pulls, there was so much shit that just wasn't real, and you guys obviously had to come out the gate and go, look, this is what we have, this is what we're going to do, and you've pretty much step by step shown that for everyone, and just kept people coming back for more. Really, like even now you see that you're doing the weekly leak videos. People are like, "Where's the leaks channel?" They want it
Yeah.
like daily. So
100%. It's like
I
crack to them, right? They're
hundred
like,
percent.
if I don't see it now, it's almost like if we don't see it, something's wrong.
Yeah,
And and I said to Grant, I was like, dude, like this leak show. I know Andrew loves video, right? Like he
yeah,
literally said to me, I'm not even joking. I'm not making this shit up. You couldn't even make this up. He literally said, every single thing that we post from now on will be in video format. And I'm like, bro,
you can't do
like
that.
what? Like no, like we need like threads, we need still
Yeah,
images and all this kind of stuff. And so that's where it kind of now we'd love empowering our core contributors. At the time, he's had a video. If he wants to do that, I was like, you know what? Like, you want to take the show to a weekly thing where everyone has to watch. It's got to be, it's super hard to consume. I have never watched that
yeah.
fully through. I've watched like 5 or 10
Mhm.
minutes, and obviously, I don't have as much time.
No.
But I said to Andrew, I go, I'm just letting you know, I have a feeling that people are going to start going, this is bullshit. Like, where's our leaks? I don't have time to watch this hour and a half show, even though it's like jam packed. We've got all the leaks, and so yeah, that's kind of the story behind that. Not to throw Andrew under the bus; he does an amazing job, but yeah, that's where we're at.
No, I love the show, and again, I'm very short for time. Got work, doing this, kids, so I watch everything at like fast speed and try and consume as much as possible. But I do see like it's great the league show because you get a kind of taste from where it's coming from and what it is from
Mm.
Grant directly, which is cool. But obviously, it's not daily. It's not quick. You can't just scroll back through whenever you want and have a look. But I do, yeah, I do love both sides, and I think you kind of need to find that balance kind of between the two. But obviously, Aaron didn't want to leak anything. That's from
Oh,
way
I
back
wouldn't say
when.
he
Oh,
didn't want to leak
let's just
anything. I'd say
uh,
he wanted to leak maybe 5% of
yeah,
things.
yeah, right. I get that feeling as well. When the new Pokemon game is come out, I'm like, I don't want to watch anything because I want to discover the
Mhm.
characters as I walk through. Which I understand that, but you've kind of gone in the other way, and lore is like untouchable. Like this is sealed away in a box. We're not telling anyone about this. And with that, I know you're not going to leak any, but who come up with the overriding story? Was it all three of yous? Was it Aaron, or have you just kind of gave that to a few writers and they've kind of gone ham? If you know what
So
I'm saying?
yeah, so for a very, very large part, it was Aaron. We for a long, long time we didn't have any like story writers. We didn't have a story team. Now we've got a full team of people that assist Aaron with that. But for a large part, it was Aaron doing that with a lot of Grant. Like they both love movies, right? And for me, at the start they were arguing quite a bit, and we just do. We always were brothers. We
As
always
brothers.
argue, and they were going back and forth. And I think it was like this is pretty much my only input on law, and I'm not going to say what it was or how it was, but you'll see once things come out. But I was just sitting there and they were going at it for like 2 hours and we would do other stuff and we have this three brothers chat, which it just it would just be on, right? Like you would just be talking, and because it was COVID, you couldn't go over to anyone's house or anything like that. And they were just going at it just over and over again. I want it to be this, I want it to be this, like the general story, which is now blown up
Yeah.
into a ridiculous amount of stories, to the point where it could be 6 movies, it could be comics, it could be TV shows, like the whole thing. But my only input myself into the law was I was like, well, what if you did this and then this happened and then everyone was like, wow, what's that surprise? And they both were like, that is already been done. Like, are you dumb? Like, that's what? And they didn't believe that I like hadn't seen that
Yeah.
storyline or that type. And now again, it's expanded out massively from there. And so I don't even know, like, to be completely honest, I don't even know if they've even kept that narrative. But
Yeah.
that would be the only thing that I could say that I genuinely have like had input in. And it was only because I just wanted them to shut up. Like, they just kept on going at it over and over and over. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, they keep a whole bunch of the lore from me. Obviously, I've read the story. It's pretty insane. Like, it honestly, the first time that I read it, I was sitting there and I got goosebumps. But I know Grant, because he wants to run the movie side of things, he's had a lot of input into it. So has Aaron. But again, like most things in the DAO now, we've got entire teams that are working on
Yeah.
building this out. But yeah, core ideas. That's kind of where it came from.
Yeah, sweet. I kind of thought it would have been you guys at first, and then more Aaron, because he's done a lot of that game design and stuff
Mhm.
like that, which you kind of got to build that into the back of it. Going off the back of the TV shows and Netflix series that Grant seems to really want to do, it'll probably get done, seeing as he wants to do it so bad. Everything's already built. But I was wondering if, like, a documentary on this whole build up and work through. I know a few people have thrown it around here and there, but I was thinking it would be so easy for people to go back through the Discord and they can literally follow piece by piece from the start all the way through what has happened, even though there wasn't cameras back then, and make it into a sort of documentary. Or you could start soon and go on from here. Like, I think you're going to be pioneers in this industry. It would be great to look back in a year's time as to how you have built out this like mega game that you're doing. Like,
So the most sure thing that I am in terms of that type of video is a documentary.
yeah,
When Danny says, so literally today, he was like Danny is absolutely fucked at the moment, right? The guy has worked himself to oblivion, and we're sitting there, and it was funny. I got a message from Grant today, and Grant and I, we weren't talking for 3 months, and no one knows this kind of stuff. This is probably a leak. We literally, he hated me. I mean, he probably still does hate me, in which, we'd had all of this stuff, and I say Danny is the glue because he's got these three big personalities, and even though Aaron is, he always kind of stays relatively quiet compared to Grant and myself, he's still a big personality, right, in his own way, and he is a leader in the business or in the DAO, and to keep us in check, you need someone, and I was very adamant at the start when we first brought Danny on that we absolutely need someone like him. I had known Danny for 15 years prior. He is exceptionally good at what he does. He's turned into the CFO, but he's also, HR. He's like,
yeah,
he's just all these things. And it's kind of gotten to a stage where he's like, he was in the office today and I didn't get in there for a couple of hours later than I usually do. And I'd already gotten this message from Grant saying like, Danny's fucked, he needs to take some time off. And I was speaking to Danny about it the night before, and he said, and I tried to talk him through. I was like, dude, like the amount of stuff that has happened in this DAO, when you watch these Netflix documentaries of Uber and stuff like that, like
oh,
you
there's
don't
shit all
even
over it.
know, like it cannot come out before this is all delivered,
Yeah,
right? Like it's the same story as every single startup that you go through. The guy from Facebook who drew a mural, and instead of
yeah,
him taking money up front, he wanted Facebook stocks, and the guy ended up being worth $100 million. There's so many of these little nuanced stories that we can fit into this documentary. And I was telling Danny, and he just looks down, he looks up, and he's like, "This is going to be a fucking documentary, man. Like this, you couldn't write this, even if you
Yeah.
tried." So absolutely, I don't really stop and think about that kind of stuff. And Grant is, when we had our TGE and we broke that record, Grant's got a 2-minute video of me on his cell phone. Like, there's going to be a hell of a lot of
Yeah.
raw footage of, like, he got my reaction, he got Aaron's reaction. I'm sitting there going, like, we started this thing thinking if we could have a $50 million, market cap, that would be
Mhm.
the pinnacle, right? And our pitch deck would go in there where the figures that we put in got blown out by like 100 times. And so there's just so many little anchor points where people inside the DAO, and not just us as founders, as in, like, there's probably 25 other people where you could cut to and say, like, what's your thoughts on this? What do you think about this? And they will roar, like, once it's all said and done and this thing's, built out and the full IBG vision is delivered and we're just building on top of it. Uber is still running,
Yeah.
but they don't care that, now there's this deep insider story and documentary that is going to happen with us, right? I almost guarantee it. And so, yes, to answer your question, yes, it's going to be funny. It's going to be ridiculous. There's going to be some not believable stuff in it, but yeah, it's it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, that unbelievable stuff is pretty much where you started. You started with a game that no one believed that you could do, and you've made it. Like, you've gone through the
Well,
hack, you've gone through all this other shit. Like,
yeah, the
the
hack.
roller coaster ride that is going to go through that doco, it's probably going to be like a 10-part series, like 10 hours long, if not longer. Like, you'll be able to go to movies
Dude,
like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You got the
you
Illuvium
couldn't,
trilogy.
dude. That hack that they got us with that hack on. It was, I can't even remember. It was either Christmas Day or New Year's Day, and I had a party at my house at the time,
Yeah.
and I had the keys to Discord at the time, right? Just because back so long ago when we first started, I created the Discord, and it was just
Yeah.
Aaron was up on, like, I'm fairly sure it was New Year's Day, right? And it was 12:02. And when they hit us right on midnight Australian time, they knew exactly what they were
Mhm.
doing, and Aaron was up, and they couldn't even get through to me because I said, like, when
Yeah.
I'm out of work mode,
Phone
it's
away.
like, it's midnight now. What could happen? Blah blah blah. And so they couldn't get through to me. There are other methods, like if they call my phone and stuff, but at this time my phone was playing the music. They called my best mate Joe, and they run over and they're like, dude, Aaron's calling. And I'm like, fuck. Okay, either someone's died in my family where there would be many, many other calls coming through, or we've been hacked. And he's like, I've caught it. I've fixed it. I'm just letting you know we've been hacked. I need you to get online right now. And I'm like, dude, I've got 60 people in my house. I'm like, the fireworks are literally going off. We're watching them right now. Like, are you having me on here right now? That's a single blip in the story of what this
Yeah.
documentary is going to be. I'm not even joking.
God. Yeah, I come in to Illuvium just before the V2 come up, so I didn't really, like, I wasn't around for that whole thing, but for Aaron to pick up on it that bloody fast is unbelievable. Like, you
Is he
see
free?
other games in that, or DeFi's or whatever, get hacked, and they're fucked for like days. They don't pick up on it, and you're just like, how do you not pick up on this stuff? But you're super lucky, and how you've handled it is like second to none as well. And obviously that pushes back into the ethos of how you wanted to run this whole thing for the rest of the time. Really, is give power back to the people. Yeah, it's
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, like that, it's things like that that people underestimate Aaron. Like, Grant was off New Year's. Like,
yeah,
I can guarantee you he's watching the fireworks. He's out there doing some crazy shit at that time, but not Aaron.
No.
He's sitting there working his way through. So, super lucky, but you kind of that's why you've got to have all three, because
Yeah.
Aaron's not going to go out and be this crazy loud person that hypes people up and all that kind of stuff. And neither Aaron or I could ever even imagine some of the crazy artistic stuff that Grant and creativity that Grant has come up with. And so it's just a really good balance. But I don't know what happens at the end of it. Will we be in the same room talking about this documentary? Probably not.
No.
We'll
You see
probably
all
hate each other.
Yeah, you see all these docos nowadays, they're just on a chair in a room by himself, and you're like, why isn't anyone else here?
Yeah,
It's because
it's
they've butted heads for so long. It's like,
so
no,
long.
not
It's
talking to them
like,
for a year
yeah,
at least.
absolutely, 100%.
Uh, but we'll move on to open beta and like overworld and that. Obviously, it's not going to be a finished product, and you're doing a cinematic kind of intro for all of this stuff. Do you know which one's going to come first, or is it just whatever comes first you put out and then you work that out marketing wise going on to into the future, or are you planning to have the cinematic done and then the rest of it come after?
As in the like open beta for Overworld and IZ.
Or just mainly for the overworld. I feel like the cinematics going to probably be more aimed towards like that overworld kind of introduction stuff.
Yeah,
Or
100%. But we need IZ to be functional. If it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
functional, then we don't have fuel, so it can't be open beta. We're only going open beta once we have the fuel system incorporated. At that point, we're easily like private beta 3 in Arena.
yeah.
Like open beta means it's all on, right? Like you can do the whole interoperable experience the whole way through.
So yeah, open beta will mean everything's pretty much NFTs at that point. Is that
Yeah,
where that flips over?
100%. Yep.
And is that where you're hoping to have the three regions ready and polished to go? And then
Yes.
the other regions are coming later, obviously.
Yep. Yep.
So with
Hopefully more. Maybe more. Like if
they are pumping
yeah,
them out very fast. It's
it's pretty crazy. Like
unbelievable.
before Dimitri went on holidays, he was like, I said, what are we, like 60% for the next region or something? And he was like, no, like we're like 85, 90. And I was like, okay. And it's not like 85, 90 and the other regions are zero.
No,
We're
they're
at
all
50% sort of across the board. So I mean, the ideal scenario would be 5 regions,
yeah, yeah,
including
sweet. Because
Sanctum Mesa, obviously.
yeah. So yeah, because of that, obviously some alluvials shouldn't be spawning in certain regions. Will the spawn rates be changed to suit the regions that are available, or are you just going to leave those alluvials to kind of come out later?
No, they'll all be capturable. Like we'll change the mechanics. So based on whatever regions that we have, all of the alluvials will be able to be captured across. If it's 3 regions, it'll be 3. If it's 5, it'll be across the 5 different regions.
Yep.
But there won't be, say, like 80 alluvials if we don't have enough regions to start off with.
Yeah, because obviously with the spawn rates, there's always a like 1% chance that this one could be found over here or
Yeah,
whatever it seems like. So obviously you just play with those as you see fit as we go into the future. Once the overworld and PvP is out, still in private beta and that, will we be able to take those ones, obviously not as NFTs, but the ones that we've caught in the overworld and build our own decks in PvP from there? Or even just have our own decks that we can
100%.
build, like access
Yep.
to.
Yep. We want to train you. We want to
Yep.
make it real. Like survival mode, sure, you can go into it and play it, but that is the most unrealistic thing.
Yeah.
That's gonna feel like a rug pull when people are like, whoa, I gotta build my own deck here and like I gotta
Yeah.
I gotta create my own augments and stuff. Like this stuff was just given to me. Like what are you doing to me? Like and it's like, welcome to the real world. You know how games make you grind for thousands of hours? This is the big leagues now. And obviously it's not going to be NFTs and you're not going to be able to earn yet. But once it goes open
Doesn't
beta,
matter.
we don't want that situation where it's like you just go from like have everything to have nothing. It's got to be a gradual progression, because otherwise people are going to be like, what the hell? This is almost like a completely different game. So yeah, we definitely want people building their own decks. And that's when it starts getting really interesting, and we can do tournaments and stuff like that. And it becomes realistic.
Yeah, I feel like anyone jumping into Private Beta 2 right now, there's so many mechanics that you need to learn off the bat. Like, it would be, I've even when we're at Oz CryptoCon, I did not understand how people could just jump in and play. Like, I would have had no idea what was going on. You're just throwing stuff around here and there. But if you start at the beginning and then build your deck up and the alluvials that you catch, you can kind of understand the mechanics of each one as you get them, and then learn as you grow and then
Yeah,
build.
that's what Vulcan said as
Yeah,
well. And I kind of didn't think about it like when you play when you play Overworld and you realize how hard it is to capture things, the penny drops where you're like, okay, now like this is a World of Warcraft type situation. Like, this is not going to be first day people are battling with 60 alluvials each. Like, no, no, not at all. And it made me. And then Vulcan said, like, I was like, fuck, we've almost gone too complex here in terms of like all the options. And he's like, hang on, I don't think we will, because of exactly what you just said. It's going to be a slow burn where you captured 5 new alluvials today. How can those affinities match up with each other? How do they fit into your team? Oh, I was able to create a new augment today. How does that work? And so you're right. I think people will learn as they go, and that education process is sort of built into it.
yeah, I really like that. And it's, you're reading the
I got to
chat.
stop reading these comments.
It's it's going off the chain. I'm like trying not to read it too much, but it's so good.
Oh,
I love it.
seriously.
But yeah, with Pokemon, obviously you start with your starter and then you work your way up and you build your team, and it's kind of going to be like that, but just over. Like, Pokemon's over in 50 hours or 100 hours, depending how long you go into it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you say the other day, like thousands of hours if you want to really flush out a full deck of high tier alluvials.
Aaron threw something out the other day, and he's like, someone might not even capture a Ramfire. Then what?
That's
And I
hectic.
was like, are you on? Like, no, mate, no. Like, I'm sorry, no. And then he's like, well, even if they do, there's so many different Ramfires that are out there. Statistically, what you can get a Ramfire that's just epic, or you
Yeah,
can get a Ramfire that's
yeah,
just good. And so I don't know, man. They've added in so many things to keep these alluvials valuable that it's disgusting. Like, there isn't a single game out there that has the same mechanics or even similar mechanics to keep their assets. Like, let alone people just going and selling $8 trillion worth of NFTs before the
yeah.
game even launches. It's not even that. Like, we've got a dude who's like trying to make it so hard for you to capture them that you might not. Like,
Yeah,
what?
that's
Like,
it. You can't
what's
even
wrong with
fathom that.
you?
Like, there's going to be an NFT there that someone may never, ever, ever get, which is like, why would anyone do that? But it
Why?
makes it so valuable that if someone ever did get it, it's like, well, here's the one of one. Like,
Then you got blueprints and IZ,
yeah,
and
that,
where people like they just think they've gone god tier. They're game designers.
yeah,
Like, we literally got a game designer. Our chief game designer is from Riot. Now, when I first had Aaron start, he when Aaron first came in, and he was like, okay, we figured out the type of genre and what we're going to build here. What do you think I'm going to do? Like, I've got someone I believed that he could write a crazy GDD, which is a game design doc, which is
mhm,
what game designers live off. Now, he went and built it ridiculously fast based on us not being able to agree whether we wanted Pokemon or he wanted Teamfight Tactics or like some version of League
yeah,
of
yeah,
Legends or,
yeah,
or whatever. I went and had that checked with like 3 pure AAA game designers. One of them, Nate Wells from BioShock, literally the game designer from BioShock. And he was like, who the fuck wrote this? Like, I know the top 20 game designers
Yeah.
in the world, right? Like, they're not
They'd be in their
everywhere,
own discords talking all the time. Like,
and you hear him talk and he's just like, yeah, this is what is going to happen. And when he told me about the whole interoperable universe, which I knew was going to happen, but like,
yeah,
I said, dude, I need to sit down with you. I've just played the overworld and this is real. And he's like, I've been trying to tell you, like, what do you want me to do? I can only tell you so. And I'm like, I don't know, like maybe give me a little bit more juice when you
no,
talk, but he doesn't. That's not Aaron, right? And
yeah,
so, you know, he has thought about so many things. And then we've had this game design team that has come in that are from AAA studios that are checking his logic and are going like the technical artists would check Grant's artistic flow, which had never been done before because he hadn't done games before. He'd done crazy CGI, but never done games before. And they were like, dude, you're on crack. Like, no, I'm sorry. That's not going to work. We can't implement that. Unreal Engine 4 doesn't allow that. And then they come back 8 hours later and they're like, dude,
it
it
worked.
worked. That is the type of shit that happens with Grant and Aaron. And so, man, like they've thought of everything seriously, and the things that they haven't thought of, the community has input
Yeah.
on. So yeah, I mean, I get fired up when I start talking about stuff like this because I
Pump it
just
up, pump it up.
know how crazy these guys have gone, and it's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah, everyone can see how hyped you get, and like I watched your one with TSG and made a video like just after that on something totally different, and I was super hyped from watching you guys, and I was like, it just radiates off you, and it it really reiterates the point why I've picked Illuvium as the one that I start making content on, and the one that I'm like invested in, and like how could I not be sold when I've got some of the best designers, the best game devs, and then you hyping it up and like telling us what you're feeling when you're going through it as a dedicated gamer growing up. How can you not feel that onto yourself, even though it's through a camera and whatever? It's there, it's real, and it's yeah. The emotion is second to none. I can't.
Yeah, I
Sometimes I
mean,
can't
I
even
feel it
speak.
too, man. I get frustrated because Grant Grant's over the hype. Like
Yeah,
you don't realize like Grant, he might turn it down sometimes, but when he wants to get me hyped, he just goes, "You can't do it." Like back when we were doing the capital raise, like early days, he goes, all right. When I got him, like I say, it took 2 weeks and I got him. That wasn't 2 weeks and I got him. That was 2 weeks and I'll build you a pitch deck. But you're still full of shit, and all your ideas are insane. Like, it, I'm not even going to mention. I've mentioned it in Discord before, but there's probably we were building some crazy other idea right before we were doing Illuvium, but that didn't work, right? Like, Grant and I still think it can, and we're gonna throw a bunch of money at it at some stage if we end up being successful with Illuvium. But he had gone through so many of my ideas where it's like, dude, you're on crack. Like, you reckon you can go and raise money? I'm not using 2 weeks of my time to build a pitch deck. That was what I got out of him. And then his way of hyping me is he's like, look, I'm going to do it, but I'm just letting you know you are going to fail. No one's going to know about this. This is a ridiculous idea. It's just too out there. We've gone too crazy, and you're not going to be able to do it. And I'm like, dude, not only am I going to stab you in the face, I will do this, and then I will double it, right? Just to show you that
just to
never
be like,
doubt me
fuck you,
ever.
I can do this.
Literally. And it's funny, like the reason I'm bringing that up is, and it's so fresh in my mind, is he started to do it again with this capital raise. And I'm like, dude, You're pissing me off. Like, and he's like, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying it's a bear market. I don't think you're going to be able to do it. And I'm like, fuck, bro. God damn it. I just want to strangle you. But, so he's got his own little ways to prod and whatever and hype things up. And yeah, we're all a little bit crazy, I think. I don't know.
He just knows how to get the best out of you. Like 100%. He's known you for that long. He knows that if I poke you, then the bear comes out and I get what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
because I think when
manipulation, I think.
you're overseas in Singapore or one of the other crypto kind of conventions, and he was in the Discord posting heaps of stuff. Like you were gone, so there wasn't any of your hype. So he jumped in and was doing it, and I was like, oh, Grant's got it as well. But
He's got it.
yeah, that was a good chat there. I love that. So much like behind the scenes action. I think everyone in the chat, as you can see, was going crazy for that. But why is there such a delay on the Crystal Shores Medium article? Like, what is that?
Dude, so shit like this is just so stupid. So there was a time when I was the only one, and Aaron just is enraged by this, right? So that Crystal Shores article, I'll literally share my screen with you right now. Like, look at this.
Here we go, guys. We got him.
Where are we here?
Because Crystal Shores is my favorite by far. It's where I've got my land. I've been waiting. All the other ones come out and I'm like, where is it?
Dude, it was written. It'll have the date on it for sure. I'm not even joking. Like, you can't make this shit up. And Aaron was like, dude, you post that right now. Like, why? So when I was doing the posting, for some reason I was the only one in the marketing team who had access to the Medium. Medium's just super shit. It's like it connects to your Twitter. There's no way to centralize it where we can have our security team take over it, where like anyone can have the login to it. And I just was going through, and it was actually me who saw these regions, and Aaron had gotten the design team to start writing up all of the all of the region info. And I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, same thing with the alluvial bios.
Yeah.
They had started writing these things, and I'm like, get them out.
Yes.
Like, this is the kind of shit where it's not law as such. Like, it's maybe there's little tidbits throughout, but it's not going to ruin the storyline or anything like that. And I was like, dude, I'm getting these out. And then Aaron goes into Aaron mode, and he's like, whoa, let me check them again, because we roughly did them. And it's like, I'm like, dude, these are the great. Like, I love this.
Amazing.
Like, just get them out. Like, get them out now. And he's like, no, just wait a bit. So he made me wait, and then I wanted to post them, not like literally here's 7 regions, just bang straight away. And so it got to the stage where we're about to migrate over to a new blog, our own internal one. And this saga is still going. Like, I'm not even joking. It's still going. We had a company that like got hacked or whatever that we were going to use, and I'm not going to say which one. And our security team are freaks, and they were on it like that. And they were like, there is this leak has happened here of one of our core contributors. We've tracked it back. This is your company that has leaked this. We want an explanation. And so we went to war with this company where we were going to do a blog thing with, integration with. And it was right at that time that I was like, well, fuck, do I post it on Medium or do I post it on this new blog that I know is going to be taken off now? And then we went to another one, and then the other one turned out just being totally like, it just, for whatever reason, it just didn't work. And now I've said to the guys, like, we still need to post stuff. We should be doing stuff on Medium. And I just haven't gotten around to it. That's it. There's
no secrets. It seemed like Crystal Shores is full of lore, and that's why I was thinking it just been held back, just because it's so different to the rest. But
no, man, the amount. I'm literally going to share my screen right now if I can, and I'll see if I can.
I guess you should be able to. I don't know.
1 sec. Yeah, like, I knew people would think this is some elaborate thing
Yeah,
where
it's just
we're
a big rug pull of Crystal Shores. It's not even a
yeah.
thing. It's not a
Crystal
region now.
Shores doesn't actually exist, guys. No. It existed. It was probably one of the first ones. To August 12th was when the last update was on this.
Yeah, well, because you dropped them all just before land sale, so I thought you were just trying to get them all out so people had a bit more of a backstory before they bought what land they wanted.
That's
Like, just
why what do you
yeah,
I'm the dude who loves hyping stuff up. I want to sell more shit,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
So I saw that and I was like, dude, this is going to make people buy more
Mhm.
like different regions
Definitely.
because, and then I just like, there's so much stuff that was happening that I was like, look, the land sales now happen. So I lose that. Then I'm like, all right, I got to move on to other things. And, and so, yeah, so sorry for doing that, but here you go. This exists. It always has.
And let's see how we go here. There we go. Black screen.
Black screen? Um,
Yeah, and the buyers on the alluvials, there's a couple when you go into private beta that come up on the load screens. I think there's nine alluvials times 2 bits of info, and I've used them for a little bit in shorts here and
let me
there,
try.
and I'm like, I want more.
Let me try again here. It shouldn't be a black screen. Are you allowing me to stream or something? Or is
Um,
it
I'm like putting it on. I don't know if
Let
there's
me
anything
try.
else I
I've
need to
got it
do.
on my secondary screen just because I've probably got a whole bunch of crap that I don't
You got some other leaks on your main screen.
probably. Let me just get everything off my screen just in case. But and now I'll bring it back to my other screen. I'm at home, so I've got a pretty shitty setup to be honest, which okay, let me see if I can do it through here. Let's try one more time.
Still probably better than my setup, but
This is gonna do the infinity screen, I think.
oh, that's fine.
Can
Oh
you
no,
see
there we
that?
go. Yeah,
Okay,
it's up
let's
now. Look, it's
hopefully
actually
there's
there.
not too many leaks here. But yeah, so
Oh no,
created by
okay.
Aaron, last updated on August 12th. Here you go. Actually exists. It's a beautiful region. I'm sure someone's screen capturing this, so they can probably do the Medium article for me. But yeah,
Blinky will be here at some stage watching this, and he'll get it all. He seems to be everywhere all the time.
this should load in a second. These images are so high quality that they just take a little while to
I think
load.
if,
But
if a few of those images have been put in the leaks channel anyway, but like
yeah, probably from Roger being like, dude, put the goddamn Medium article up. You've been asked
yeah.
68 times, you dumbass. And I'm like, yep, I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it.
Well, it exists, everyone. It is an actual thing, which is great to know. Hopefully, we
There you
get it
go.
put up on the medium soon, or when you do your
Yeah, I'll
new
get it.
vlog.
I'll get it put up tomorrow, 100%. I don't actually, I have transferred. It's actually not, it hasn't been my fault for 3 weeks now, but because Aaron was like, we've got a new security guy in Dumb Player 2. I don't know if you guys know Jeremy, but he's awesome. He's like crazy. He's always online. He's another one of those guys where I reckon he's like a robot. But he has the medium. He figured it out how to connect it up, and so Aaron technically could have posted that by now, but yeah, I think he's got some other stuff on his mind.
Yeah, medium as a thing seemed to Web3 people just seem to flock to it like there was nothing else to use. Like
Mm.
it's just everywhere. I'm like, I've never heard of this
Which
before, but it's and
Yeah, Kane was the one who told us to do a medium. Like, to be honest, I wish we had have done from for SEO purposes and whatever. But
yeah,
people back then anyway, no one was really thinking about SEO
yeah,
and
yeah.
any sort of marketing. To be completely honest.
That's true. So I'll throw it in a different avenue. The Bulldogs partnership. I'm a Bulldogs supporter, so when I seen that this partnership come out, I was actually up at Brisbane for Magic Round when it was first on their shorts, and I was like, "Hey, what is that?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." Is that going to continue for years to come, or is that just this one-off kind of season that you've done, or you haven't really got into that yet?
So I got into so much shit for that. Not so much shit, but like I copped so much flack from Grant, and mainly Grant, a little bit of Aaron. He was like, this is just bullshit. You've just done this because it's your team and whatever. And it actually came through from a guy named Kerrod Holland, who used to be a
Yep.
Bulldogs player and now is heavily into Web3.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know, I must have mentioned it at some stage. And he realized that I was a Bulldog supporter, or he was, no, actually, no, that wasn't true. He reached out and he said, I used to be a Bulldog. And I was like, dude, I watched you for like 6 years. Like, I know who you are. And this is early on. Since then, we've had like quite a few people reach out and like who are very, very famous and said like, "Hey, can I chat to you? Like I'm so and so from this NBA team or this
Mhm.
artist or this football team or whatever." But he was like, and I said, "This is crazy, man. Like this is my team. I followed him since 6 years old. I played NRL for like 4 or 5 years, whereas all the other brothers didn't really play it. But Kane was pretty into it. Grant a little bit, and Aaron was massively into it up until about sort of I think 20, and then
Yeah.
he moved on to Fulham, which is his soccer or football team, depending on where you are. But I cop so much flack from that I've said this year I'm going to give. I don't want to stop it, right? Like if you were there at that last game and you saw a core stadium, the
Oh,
largest stadium in the world, the largest screen in the world is at a core stadium. We literally had the Illuvifest trailer, and it was an updated version which showed like the NFT and all that kind of stuff. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, this is a game where it doesn't really matter in terms of like the results. Like they're not going to reach the top eight, but they've been in this building stage for the last couple of years. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, if this was the finals and you had 100,000
mm.
people there and we sponsored them and we could get that on this massive screen, it would be a game changer, right? And so for me, I'm not going to die on the hill. And so I've created this new thing where it's called a DAO marketing grant.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to give the money to the DAO to then sponsor the Bulldogs next year so we can keep that going. And then once we get like we did it late, it was like round 10 I
Yeah.
think when we started last year. So if they do well next year and we get a lot more exposure from it, and there's a whole bunch of things that they want to do with us, those NFTs that we did, I want to keep going. So it's like
Mhm.
5 years from now, if you've held the first one, the first jersey, then it's gonna have value there. And so I'm going to keep on doing whatever it takes to sponsor them. I want to be in that sort of Russell Crowe situation
Mhm.
where he goes for Souths and he's like done absolutely everything for the club.
Yeah.
That's my sort of like 4 or 5 year vision for that.
Mhm.
And so if I have to keep on giving the DAO this marketing grant, I'll do it. But hopefully by the end of next year, they do really well and I can prove to my brothers that, hey, I'm not just taking the piss here. Like this is in real life marketing for us.
Yeah.
And it actually has there's, you know, something like 1,000 people running around with an Illuvium Bulldogs jersey now. Like that has value. But again, I'm the marketing guy. They don't really care so much about that. They're like, let's just build a good game. So I don't know. That's what's going to happen. We're definitely sponsoring them next year, but it's unfortunately going to have to come from my pocket.
Ah, that sucks, but it's still sponsoring. Like I was super stoked. I seen your story of it on the screen. It looked absolutely amazing. Like
Mm,
that screen is huge. If anyone hasn't seen how big it is,
stupid.
it's like the whole width of the football field wide, isn't it? Like it's like
Literally,
70 meters wide or something.
it's the
It,
largest screen on Earth in
that's
Australia, and we had
ridiculous.
our trailer being played on it, like in front of not like it was still 20,000 people there.
Yeah,
It was decent.
and they won the game too. It was a great game. I
Oh,
actually streamed the game in Discord, and there was about 20 to 30 of odd people in there. People that had never watched NRL before.
yeah.
Like Fraggy was in there, and they were like, "What is going on?" And they were like, "Go headgear boy, kick the goal." It was
Dude,
so great to see like
Burton.
people from everywhere, and you actually got to meet him. Like, so jealous.
Yes.
He's the
Yeah, it
man.
was. We were sitting there at halftime. It was kind of like, oh dear God, like
Yeah,
this is their last game, and I was sitting there. I was like, I need, like, give me something to prove to these brothers that this is not just bullshit, and they're not just like they're building. And that Matt Burton. So little
yeah,
stat on him: he kicked the ball 7 meters further than the furthest AFL mark that was taken this year. So just think about that. It's an AFL ball versus an NRL
yeah,
ball. The AFL ball is designed to go a lot further.
yeah.
That guy is going to be getting offers from the NFL
He will.
very, very, very soon. There's stories you can Google Matt
Yeah,
Burton NFL. The scouts are looking at him. Next year we've got him as well, and he's got ice in his veins. He
yeah.
literally I knew
He
he was.
didn't
I
care.
didn't even look. We had like 15 of our team members there for the last game. We had Alex, who's from
Yeah,
France and never seen any of this kind of shit before. I turned around. I said, Matt Burton's going to land this. Watch this. They pass it back, and he just goes boom straight over the black dot, and I'm just like, we've won. We've done
yeah,
it. We've won. So yeah, it's very obviously passionate to me. After that, they allowed me to go into the sheds and
so
meet all
good.
the guys, and they're super appreciative. They all know what Illuvium is. They
That's
all
so
love it,
good.
and it just makes it real. They've
Mhm.
worked with Star Wars before. They worked with Marvel before. Like our jersey, it's
Mm.
Star Wars jersey, Marvel jersey, now Illuvium jersey, right? Like that's legacy type stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it means a lot to me, and I'm not gonna, let that slide. I think we can build this partnership and make it bigger and bigger and bigger as we go.
Oh, 100%. And having all those guys knowing what Illuvium is, that's marketing as well. If they get into it, how many kids follow
Oh,
Matt Burton? How many kids follow Josh
Adokar.
Adokar? And
Yeah,
like
like
I messaged you about trying to get rid of um, the memberships to people, and you were trying to do that as CEO as well. And like, thoughts like you could have a whole Illuvium day at Adokar Burton and all that there. Kids come, there's
that's what we're
Illuvium
gonna
teams.
do.
Like,
That's literally what we're gonna
yeah,
do next year. Like it was too rushed. Like I
yeah,
was super busy. I couldn't like. So Alex, I can see he's in chat. He
yeah.
literally came up to me at halftime when they were getting absolutely whomped, and he's like, "Are they gonna win?" And I just looked him dead in the eyes, and I was like, "100%." And he
Put
goes,
money.
okay. And he just walked off. And then as soon as he kicked that football and it went over, he was just running around and he's like, 100%. You said 100%. And I was like, now, with all due, like, in
Yeah,
all seriousness, that is absolute bullshit. I had no idea that they were going to win that game. I hoped that they were going to win, but like, I didn't telepathically like send
yeah.
that message over. But anyway, that was a lot of fun. That was really cool for us.
You got into Burton's head and you made him kick that over.
I definitely did not, but hey,
We are getting close to an hour. I don't know if you want to stay longer or if
no,
you
we'll
need to wrap
stay
it up.
longer.
Or
I can. I'm hearing some bangs. My girlfriend's got a slow cook on,
yeah,
but I like let's get through all these questions regardless. Like it's a
righto.
slow cook. It can take a little bit longer.
Obviously, Illuvifest is like a massive thing that you're pushing right now, and I absolutely love the idea. Like festivals, Illuvium, bash them together. I love it. But we had a great idea. We'll have an influencer boxing match, I reckon. TSG versus Goriox. Who you got your money on?
Far out. Okay, first of all, I don't think Scoriox is getting in that ring. That's
Oh,
number one. And boxing is pretty crazy. Like Grant wanted to be a professional boxer at one stage, like dead set. And
yeah,
I was living with him through this time, and he went crazy. Like he was doing like as obsessed as he got with CGI. He got with boxing, but it was way, way, way too late, right? Like it was, he was like 24, and dude, he was willing to just go in there and just get the shit beaten out of him. He had quite a few fights. I think he had like 7 fights in the end, and he lost more than he won, but he still won a couple of fights. But for me, that was just like, I went to, I think, every single one of his fights but one. And I was, his biggest supporter. Like I was there the whole time. I knew his trainer, and it was so infectious that he got me into it as well. Now, I never stepped into the ring, but, I was going a couple of times a week and stuff. And so boxing, we've loved. Our grandfather loved boxing. So we've always watched it. And so when I saw those questions, I was like, fuck, I love, like, this is going to be a really entertaining interview for me, right? Like a good AMA. Now, the thing that I'll say about these AMAs is you don't know how big anyone is, right? And I almost always get it wrong. The guys that I think are super tall or super large or super strong or whatever are the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Santiago's like 6'3".
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Like,
No.
what? I was like, huh? Sorry. Now, Scoriox, I actually thought was like, I don't know, 6'1" or something like that. Now, I don't want to. Yeah. Glad you said it and I didn't. He's, and I don't usually say much anymore, but I'm trying to say this in the nicest possible way. He probably shouldn't fight anyone. Now,
Oh, he said in the chat that he does martial arts. I don't think TSG is very big either, but I don't know, a bit of a grudge match between the Augment boys.
yeah, okay, so maybe I'm wrong, but
It would be funny. I highly doubt you'd do it, but it would be heaps funny
now,
to
I mean,
set
to
up
be
stuff
honest,
like that.
we're up for it. If it's charity boxing, dude,
Yeah,
we're going to have a super large esports tournament. Why not run it?
have a random boxing tournament between the influencers. Like I wrote down in the thing, me get versus Vulcan, just because we're about the same size. I don't want to box him. Fuck no, he's fucking huge, but we're about the same size, so
Dude.
that's the only reason why. Like I thought he was short, and he's taller than me, and I was
So,
like, fuck.
have you ever boxed before?
Fuck no, I've never been in a fight. Never, not even once. And I played rugby growing up forever. I never.
You played rugby though?
Yeah,
See,
the whole way up, but never been in a fight.
no,
I'm a flaccid person.
I think he'd fuck you up. It's when I saw him, he looks like I'm not
He's
like
solid.
no
He is
disrespect.
solid.
No, he's yeah. You look more solid than he does, but he looks lean in terms of like he's muscly.
I got this.
Yeah, you got now. You're sort of like the butterbean of boxing, and he's more like the sort of, I guess, Frazier is who I would say. So he's probably gonna play with you a little bit and then give it a couple of rounds, and he's gonna knock you the fuck out. So yeah, I wouldn't be doing that one if I was you. But
no, I won't. But you got to call someone out. So who are you going to call out then? Who do you reckon you'll go against? Because you got to hop in. You have to.
Oh god.
I know you won't. Grant would be good because you've butted heads so much, but you don't want to hop in the ring with him, do you?
Dude, I messed around with him one. It was back probably 2-3 months into the project starting, and he not like the problem is growing up, I was always bigger than him, and he's 2 years old, or he's 18 months older, and so I don't know why. Like it just happened to be bigger than him. He's about 6 foot, and I'm about 6'2", and that sort of kept going as we were growing. And I'm naturally just a little bit bigger than him, and so we would always fight. And I feel like I had a bit of an unfair advantage. And now I wouldn't even go near the guy, right? Like if he wants to destroy me, he can do so at will. And we're at a party once, and I was just fucking around with him, and I kept punching him in the arm and like trying to lay into his stomach and stuff like that. And he's really good at defense as well. So like I couldn't get in, and one single punch he just goes, dude, if you keep going, I'm literally going to belt you. And I was like, all right, all right, all right, all right. And then I just cracked him once more when he wasn't looking, and it didn't even hurt him. And he just turned. I saw him load up this punch, and he says, "Oh, I didn't even load it up." Dude, my rib, I felt it crack. I literally felt, and I just went, "Ugh." Like down on one knee. There was like 5 people in the lounge room that are like, "Oh my god." And I got up and I was trying to make it out like I was good.
It's all good.
I was like, I'm sweet, I'm sweet. Next morning, I'm rolling out of bed like this. Like just not even, and you can't do anything with a cracked
Yeah.
rib. Like you just have
Nah.
to, it takes 5-6 weeks for it to heal. And yeah, so I definitely don't want to get in the ring with Grant, but I don't know if there was enough money put up for charity or whatever, and you give me another gaming founder that I've talked shit about or has talked shit about me, then let's dance.
We'll get old Star Atlas guy or Kagi Jan, one of those two. They seem to be been poked a bit at lately.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know, but for charity, I'll do some pretty stupid things. So yeah,
100%. You're giving money to the people that need it, which is
exactly.
amazing. Michael Wagner. I don't keep up with that shit, but we seen that Sohan like come and seen you over the weekend for all that stuff. Do you? Obviously, you don't have a place, but would you rather Sydney or Melbourne or Brizzy? I'd say you'd keep it on the East Coast, but
it'll be I would almost guarantee it'll be East Coast. We don't have. It's funny, like he went into his element where he's a very similar personality as me, maybe a little bit more reserved. And him and his mate came over, who he works with very, very closely, and he's built festivals before that. Like he did FOMO Festival, he's doing Spilt Milk Festival, he did my Burger Festival, which just like he did my Burger Festival in 10 days from Mexico. Like the guy's an animal.
So good.
And he was sitting there and he just something snapped. I don't know, I was trying to get it out of him the whole time. Like he ended up staying for like 4 or 5 days, and I was trying to get it out of him. And then at one point he just goes like, "This is my calling." He goes, he goes, "I don't care if I die making this festival. I am going to make this the craziest festival of all time. It's literally the festival of destiny. You have and this is him saying this, right? Because he's so pumped up on Illuvium. He's like, you have one of the biggest games in the world that is about to come out. You literally we have access to all of the biggest artists. So many of them are holding ILV. You're going to have prize money, which is coming out. Like you've combined this idea of Aaron's to add an esports tournament into it. You've got access to people like your brother who have access to all of the people in crypto. Like you don't understand what's going on here." He's like, "Just shut the fuck up. Let me do this. Just both of you." And we were just sitting there. We're like, "We have not said a word, dude. Like, we're just like," it's kind of like when I get hyped up. And he's like, no, you do not understand. And I'm like,
we're not arguing with you, mate.
No, like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't hurt us or anything.
It's like, how much money do you need?
Seriously. And he's just like, I can't deal with you guys. And he just puts his headphones on, and he has not stopped. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to come out of this. The guy's got super amounts of experience. All of those things that he was talking about are true. You know, like we do have access to a lot of crypto people. We do have access to so many different artists out there. Like the artists that he was throwing out, I was like, bullshit, man. Like, come on. And he's like going like different genres. He's like, no, like, I'm not even going to say the festival that he wants to beat, but it's pretty out there. And I don't know, like maybe it's too outlandish, but you can bet your ass it's going to be a very, very good event.
No, I'm thinking back to the height of my festival life, which would be like 2 day stereo, like Stereo Sonic 2 days. That was, I've been a Splendor 5 times as well, which is pretty much 4 days because you camp. That's huge, but different vibe.
What did they call it? You're shredding for stereo. That was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
line.
100%. Yes, that's exactly right. But yeah, I can think exactly back to that, and I would be like, obviously crypto in the morning, then party in the afternoon, or whatever else happens during out the
Mhm.
day. I can't. Yeah, Wonka. Wonka was the actual guy that told me about Illuvium, and we used to go to festivals together. So he'll
So,
be keen. He's the one who brought up to Oz CryptoCon as well. So that would be
yeah,
great
you got
to.
to get Sohan on to do an AMA, or some influencer needs to get Sohan on an AMA about Illuvifest, and you want to see passion, like
And
he,
I'll think up of probably 12 good questions again, and we'll see how
yeah,
we go. Because I seem to get you talking pretty good. So
yeah, no,
I guess
exactly.
I got 3 more, but do you want to do 1 or 2 or all of them, or what do you
What do
reckon?
you got? Just give me the three, and I'll tell you which one I want to answer. Or we can look in the chat, and if they want me to answer everyone, I won't do a whole 10-minute answer for everyone. I'll just blast them out because I
There's
literally
one.
yeah.
The question. Have you got them in front of you?
I don't, but I can
No.
pull them up.
There's one that I want to do last, but um, like question 11, I want to do
What is
last.
the thing that you're most proud of so far with
Yeah,
Illuvium? That's a very easy answer. The team. The
yeah,
team is the secret sauce between for everything. Like they come onto these AMAs, they're crazy, bro.
yeah.
Like I'm not joking. They're like I can talk shit about how much we work and whatever. We can't go through the list and name every single one of our team members and different AMAs and whatever. There's a guy named Gezu, right? Like who is just beyond next level. Like this guy works so hard. I'm not doing the raw because again, I'm not doing the raw. I'm just not doing it. Did Grant do the raw?
Grant did do the raw. It was right at the end of one of the streams. Like it was the outro was playing, and he did it during the outro. So he has done it, but everyone wants it again. And obviously, everyone is asking for the raw again. Keep posting dinosaurs and raws. You got to peer pressure him
I'm
into
not
it,
doing
guys.
the.
Come
I'm not.
on.
I'll do the. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it
You have
because
to do it.
I'll
I
tell you
did the
why.
raw,
I'll tell you
and it was
why I'm not doing
terrible.
it.
I even got my kids to do the raw.
I'll tell you why I'm not doing it because I did it in the car on the way over here because I knew and I've recorded it. Actually, I'm putting this on mute and I'm going to listen to it. If this is, for some reason, it was going through my Bluetooth and I didn't actually hear what it sounded like, but I was not happy with it. So
It doesn't matter. Did you see TSG's first one?
oh, it
He
was god
testy
awful.
popped.
But no, but yeah, I know. But just let me see this recording. What's the voice memo? All right, I'm putting this on mute just in case this is just absolutely
No,
awful.
just go for it. Come on. Come on, chat. Get the raw going. Raw, raw, raw. Agree with that, Ludo. Ludo says that Grant can't raw louder. Grant can raw louder than you. You're still on mute.
All right, I'll play that just to prove, just to
Oh,
actually prove. I'm going to play this. It's pretty bad, to be honest. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear it, but here we go.
I still don't think it counts.
So there you go.
Oh.
That's what I'm working with here. So I
Yeah,
need
you
a
still need
little.
to do it live, I reckon.
Nah,
I reckon you
I'm
still
not
come
doing it.
on.
I'm not doing
Oh.
it. I'm not doing it. But let's answer those other questions quickly. So I can
I
get
got a couple of random ones. Scoriox said, "When's Illuvium Zero?" It's just
Illuvium Zero. That will be. We're talking about. I need to go to the council to see if they want to do the revenue generation for Alpha.
yeah,
The
yeah,
ideas that Johnny has come up with. They're awesome. Like they don't just make it about revenue generation.
yeah.
They make Illuvium Zero really cool. I'll give you one little tiny tinsy leak, and we're talking skins for your structures.
That's
And
sick. I
that's
like that.
that's all I'll give you. That's all I'll give you.
I really like that. Like, you don't want that. You don't want anything to be pay to win, obviously, and you don't want it just to be pay, but you still got to make revenue somehow. And I love that skinning stuff like that.
But it's like it's more than skin. Like there's. I'm just telling you the concept of
Yeah,
skins
it
will be on
obviously
them,
hasn't
but
been fully fleshed out or anything, but
no, there's
so,
it's a lot cooler than just hey,
it's
buy
just
a
skins.
skin.
Yeah,
There's more from your outdoors.
sounds good. Scrubber Dub Dad, right at the start of this, he I don't know if he really wanted me to ask me, but he asked, "Are you a redhead or a dirty blonde?"
I'm a dirty blonde. Jesus Christ! Like the problem
It's
is,
looks like brownish, but
nah. So they're actually. It's a good question because at one point I used to work at a retailer and I had this. I had the whole. I was the manager, and they used to think that I was just too like. I wouldn't let anyone leave the store unless they bought. Right. I had this
that's
rule.
what
If
you're a salesman.
Yeah, but I had this rule where if anyone walked out and you didn't get me into the conversation, then you were in trouble. And so they all grouped together at one point and they started this narrative that I was a redhead. And I was like, no, I'm not. And I was like, I freaked out basically. And I went back to my mum at one point and I was like, she used to be a hairdresser. And I was like, Mum, this is a serious question. My back's up against the wall. I need you to tell me right now, am I a redhead? I will not be upset if this is the truth. Like, no offense to redheads, but like I don't want to be one. And I'm like, am I? And she started cracking up. She's like, absolutely not. You're like, what are you talking about? And I was like, all right, sweet, I'm not. So it's been confirmed by a goddamn hairdresser and my mum. I'm not a redhead. No offense to the redheads out there, but yeah, that's confirmed.
Just have to put it out there. Your mum will tell you anything to make you feel better anyway. So,
Oh, God damn it. I leaned into that, didn't I?
yeah, 100%. And then we'll just do that last one. Are you afraid that like after the main release, because everyone's been working so bloody hard, like obviously long hours and whatever, a lot of people want to have a bit of time off just to take a break, and like how are we going to manage that? Because there's obviously going to be a lot of bugs come out once it does go to open beta, because
Mhm.
it's just going to be flooded with people. Hopefully it's flooded with heaps of people. So yeah, how are you going to
So we
manage that
manage
if it
it right.
happens?
So the QA team, the dev team. So what we'll do is right. We'll start shifting the holidays. So yes, like everyone's going to be. We have a policy. We take as much holiday as
Yeah.
you want, right? Like, and no one does. That's the crazy thing. They're like, we're incentivized. We just want to get this thing out, and so what we'll try and do, and like some people we need to force to have holidays, like actually
Yeah.
force. But what we'll do is we'll transition the art people to start having holidays prior. So
Mhm.
then when the dev team the dev team will start having holidays prior.
Mhm.
So when we do go to full open beta, the QA team are there, the core back end is there, the front end is there, and there will be a lot of other people like that, operations, marketing, like everyone has been going ridiculously hard. But yeah, we'll start, even if there's a period of like, a month, 2 months where we have to delay in order to keep
Mm.
our
Keep people sane.
keep them sane and keep them alive in some cases,
Mm.
then we'll do whatever it takes. And I don't give a fuck. That's when I'm
Mm.
ruthless, right? That's when, and same with Grant, right? We will sit there and be like, don't care what the community says. You can't see the day to day grind and burn on these people. You just need to trust that if we say we're delayed by a month or 2 months after open beta from like new products that we decide to launch and whatever, just leave them the fuck alone, because they have gone beyond. Like in this documentary, it's probably going to be called the fastest AAA game to ever be built in
Mhm.
history. That's my pick on what I think it will be. And to do that, you need to blast the absolute fuck out of the team. And to be honest, we don't even do it else. Like, it's not coming from up, it's down. They do it from themselves. So yeah, they can take as much time as they want, and no one's going to say a single thing. and we're all going to be too busy trying to collect alluvials anyway. So who gives a
100%. They'll take holidays so they can play instead of work on it.
Maybe like that's what I'm really worried about. I mean, fuck, I'm gonna have to buy them all a few alluvials so they can play.
Yeah. I like as soon as that Overworld's released, I think I'm going to be having a fair bit of time off, depending when it is. So I'm on a job now where it's getting to the pointy end, and I'm like, hopefully it either finishes well before this Overworld releases, or it's too far away that it doesn't matter.
You
But
might be. I mean, who knows? Like at the start, you might be able to make. I'm not allowed to talk like this, but you
come on, just do it.
you might be able to make enough money where you're like, you know what, boss, peace out. You know,
Yeah.
I love you. Or you know, if it's your own business or whatever, I don't know what you've got going on in your work situation. It might be like, sorry, just caught the only ram fire. I'm out. Peace.
See ya.
Hopefully, he's not watching.
No, he's definitely not watching. But that is pretty much all the questions that we've had today. I think this has been a great chat. Everyone in the chat here has been going crazy. Like, I've been loving it. They still want a roar, but someone even asked if they could have that roar as their ringtone. So
could you hear? I mean, obviously, I can't hear that coming through. Could you? So my thing is, I went back and I did a bit of research, and my recollection of it is like the 1998 Jurassic Park. I don't know if I'm getting, but it was like pre-2000s Jurassic Park, and that one is a little bit more high pitched and it sort of lasts a little bit longer. The new ones, it's like just a plain roar, which and I've watched all the Jurassic Parks, but I just don't remember it being like just that roar, like that super like heaviness.
It had like a hollow sound to it.
And like a little bit of high pitch to it, like up, and because he's moving his head and shit, like I can see it, and I'll do it, but I need to see what the feedback has been like on this supposed ringtone, and if I don't look like too much of a clown, then yeah, you'll get it out of me one day. Maybe if I have a couple of drinks, you'll get it out of me. But yeah,
sounds great. I think you should upload that into the Discord, into the Leaks channel. And then anyone can download that and put it as a ringtone.
Well, I'm not even joking. I thought I was going to rug everyone again, and then they definitely wouldn't believe me. I swiped left when I tried to click on it, and it
went delete.
Well, it went to recently deleted, and I was like, oh, fuck, I can get in there. So I'll pull it out of there, and then I'll send it. I'll send that into the Discord, and if I get some feedback that isn't like, wow, that guy should just go kill himself, then I will... I'll do it. I'll do it on the next AMA.
Sounds like a plan. But anyway, thanks for jumping on the channel. It has been an awesome chat. We've got so much out of you. I feel like I've asked some really different questions and went down some different avenues, but that's what it's all about, isn't it?
100%. Sweet. Do I need to do anything like to